Dr. Rajat Kumar for his presentation. Thank you very much for listening so patiently. Thank you.
The Kerala Additional Secretary, Chief Secretary's address, I wonder if anything else needs to be said about skill development. You covered it very comprehensively, sir. Make it work. All right. I have a slide. I'll not take you through entire thing. The slides will be there. I'll just speak through it. So basically what I wanted to highlight was Kerala has, of course, I mean, it's a stable state. It's been doing these things for a long time. Through a process of trial and error, the best practices have emerged. Telangana was a state that was created very recently, about 2 years back. So one of the things that I want to emphasize was that, how does a new state, I mean, Jharkhand, I see the secretary is missing now, but is also something that it is like the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister was talking about it, is looking at how to do it best, how to take it forward. When you do that, what I am going to try and touch upon is how did we do it if there is some lessons to be learned from there. So, I mean, one of the things we have is that we have certain strengths. It's a fairly strong hub of IT and IT-enabled services. A lot of construction, it's a big city, and real estate and construction. And there is the National Academy of Construction. It's again a major production center for pharmaceuticals. A lot of defense organizations and precision engineering institutions are there because of geographical location. And then in recent times, because of the convergence of various factors, it has emerged as a growing center of hospitality. It has the National Institute of Tourism and Hospitality Management also. We identified these areas and tried to look at the skill gaps. We commissioned a study by the Accenture Group, and it's a slightly detailed slide over there. But what they were telling us was that roughly by 2022, we would have a shortfall of 80 lakh skilled people. Now a small state, total population 3.5 crores as of today, and they're talking about the skill gap. What I want to emphasize, the take home point from here, the skill gaps are humongous, huge. And mention has been made of the demographic dividend. But if we don't address the skill gap and we are not able to get meaningful employment of the youth who are not able to go for the higher education and get white collar jobs, then this could translate very well into social unrest. For example, Jharkhand has the issue of Naxal problem, so does Telangana have. It could manifest, the unrest of the youth could manifest itself in that kind of extremist proclivities. Or you could just have a very, disturbed social scenario. It will manifest in one caste versus another caste of struggle. I mean, this kind of just erupts somewhere. It gives you a stroke somewhere. It gives you a rupture somewhere. So we need to address this not merely from the economic angle, but also very much from the social and political angle also. A huge gap in a population of 3.6 crores for Telangana today. Projected skill gap of 80 lakh for 2022. I'm sure it will be similar for Jharkhand if they take up this study or if they have taken up. And then of course we drove down that identification of the gap into what would be the sources. Usual suspects here, nothing much for me to take your time. ITIs, postgraduate degree colleges, engineering, polytechnics, etc. We tried to do some kind of mapping of what was the existing capacities, how these people, the youth could come out of these institutes and be skilled to take on appropriate jobs. We constituted one of an apex body, like I saw from Kerala's presentation, they have case. We have the Telangana State Skill Development Mission. It's more an administrative body, but we try to bring the various skilling initiatives under one roof. And they look after, the processes and the practices, quality certifications, they tried to, one of the issues in skilling is because of its multiple natures. Somebody in the audience we met during the break was talking to me, he said that he had listed out some 2,000 different skills that can be imparted. And 2,000. So it cannot be that just one department, agriculture or health or somebody or IT looks after it and addresses all those things. And multiple departments have to coordinate. And then what happens is that, like in an administrative structure, the gaming starts. The institutions are like repeating the numbers, something that we have seen in rural development, anti-poverty programs. Now that skill development is the next big thing in India. That could start over there also. So one of the initiatives that, we feel it could be a best practice is that we did an Aadhaar-based system of identification of the candidates so that duplications and repetitions will not be taken again. Under that one umbrella organization of the skill development mission at the state level, we have a number of ongoing schemes which are tied in. There are 24 sectors that we are giving thrust to, 160 courses running now, and these are expanding even as we speak. Number of new initiatives and all that are being taken up. I mentioned the thrust areas, so the skill courses are focused on construction, IT and IT-enabled services, retail, hospitality, healthcare, lifestyle, solar sector and power, and then automobiles. Number of partners, I'll skip over this. One of the things that we have done is that we try to address the skilling cycle as a complete end-to-end thing. So right from skill gap assessment to training, then training of the assessment, placement, post-placement support, and then skill upgradation where it is required. This is another thing that perhaps some of the representatives of different governments, I think this session is looking at what other states are doing and adopting some of it. So I'm sure in one way or the other it's being addressed by everybody. But we try to do it a bit more formally. We had structures in place for that. We had this IT software developed and put in place so that we could monitor it rigorously. The starting point, of course, is a database of stakeholders, the youth, the employers, the training agencies, placement agencies. Then pre-training services, trainings, trying to get uniformity and high quality. Then on-the-job training is another component. Placement and post-placement support. I'm just trying to walk you through the salient features of the entire cycle of skilling that I was presenting in my slide. So we have a tie-up with about 30,000 employers and at different levels, including international employers. And things like, for example, we give migration support. Rural people come to urban areas for training. Now, they do not have staying facilities. In the question-answer session, if there is some interest in this, I'll talk to you all in detail. The executive director from my state, you can just get up and say hello to everybody. He will stay back. If there are certain things that you have, more details on these efforts, he will be around to give you more feedback on that also. And some of the innovations are, tying up with a number of these new companies that have come up, Uber, in the big baskets, their group and things like that. Hyderabad has an advantage of the presence of a large number. I don't know if it translates into Ranchi or some of the other cities. Number of, trial things are like retailing, also Shopper Stop came up with its first center there. Now IKEA is coming to the country. Their first center is going to come up in Hyderabad. I think one of the advantages is that Hyderabad is a big urban center, but its land prices are still, I don't know what it is in Ranchi. Somebody can tell me what is the per square yard rate here in a good area? No? Alright. But in Hyderabad it's very low. It is about 1/3 of what it is in Chennai or Bangalore at some places. And outside, in the outskirts, you get land at, let's say, 2.5 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees an acre still. 30, 40, 50 kilometers outside the city limits. It's amazingly cheap. I mean, coming from Delhi, I mean, when I look at the prices there, I find that it's actually, so that could also encourage, and then there is all the infrastructure and the technical and, you know, manpower support that you get in a big city, good healthcare available over there. So we try to take advantages of our strengths and, like, I mean, build it into a very robust skilling ecosystem in our state. Achievements is started recently. Achievements are modest compared to a senior state like Kerala. It's done a lot. But during the year 2014-15, which was the first year of the state formation, we did like physical placement of about 82,640 people. 15-16 numbers are rather low. I think the accounting is not fully done, is it? And one more thing that I would like to share with you before I close. One of the things is that the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, is talking not about just skilling India for India, but skilling India for the world. So all the southern states have formed companies which are like, you know, I mean, licensed for doing external manpower placements. Kerala has done it. I think Uttar Pradesh has recently done it. Yeah, department has done it. So we have a corporation also. This was incorporated in 2015. Recruitment license was granted in January 2016. And I think, like, I mean, Jharkhand has tremendous potential here. Extremely, like the Honorable Minister was talking about people here being excellent and sincere and a lot of facility. We definitely can look at, like, you know, I mean, sort of working on similar structures in all the states and trying to encourage some of our people to go abroad. The things that we need to, as a government, we need to look for when we send people abroad. One is the protection of our own workers as they go abroad. You know, I mean, there are a lot of these instances where our nurses are going to the Middle East and facing like bad experiences, and then we have to help them to get back. Sometimes the employers do not pay the salaries that they are promised. Sometimes they are kept in very inhuman conditions, exploited in various forms. And the other part that the government needs to ensure, is basically like, I mean, to make sure that the people who are going abroad, they are having the requisite skills, so that you have a good brand. I mean, as we expand our footprints in the international skill market, we need to make sure that we make the right impression. Today, I mean, India is not really known for high quality middle level. We know long back our engineers and doctors started going abroad, and like the IIT and the better quality professionals have made a name for themselves, particularly in America. I mean, you know, people gave me more credit for being a graduate of an IIT rather than being an alumni of Harvard University. You know, the Harvard thing gave a little less like this thing than they. So that is the kind of branding. As we send our skilled manpower abroad, we need to like make sure that as government, it's our responsibility to ensure that the same kind of branding is done for our people. That's it. Thank you very much.